The Circus Catch, a new podcast with this guy, Jordan Wright. Watch him talk inside. Watch him talk outside. Watch him talk with a fake background. Watch him walk on camera with a baseball bat. Yep, 30 exciting minutes of sports talk stuff, I think. With this guy, Jordan Wright. All right, let's start the show.
You know, I think this is great.
Yeah, man, I think it's perfect. We got exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan, what do you think, bro?
You guys are joking, right? I told you guys specifically, do not use those shots. I don't even look like that anymore. This is ridiculous. Here, give me that. Let me show you guys how it's done.
After years of waiting, the podcast is finally here. 30 easy minutes a week of entertainment, sports talk, smack talk, interviews, and answering your questions.
They're so dumb, but organized. But so dumb.
You don't make money on that line.
That dude could see the rotation off a ball no one else could ever see.
And next up, we'll have Johnny Manziel.
Industry up-and-comers guest star every week. Plus, we'll feature some friends giving their wild takes on the biggest topics in sports.
Let's dive in. Welcome to the Circus Catch.
I liked him better when he was fat.
Me too.
If you only knew how much work went into that intro, you would be just as sad as I am right now, because that took so long to be less than 2 minutes long. Anyways, here we are. Inaugural episode, opening episode of the podcast. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining in. My name is Jordan Wright, and this is the Circus Catch. Joining me today as my co-host, he's also got one of these things that you see behind me right there. One of those bachelor's degrees from Full Sail University at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, Mr. Jesse Larson. Thank you for joining the show today, sir.
How's it going, Jordan? Thank you for having me today.
Of course, anytime. You're always welcome. So, Jesse, we've got to start out with some news that you wanted to cover real quick. Something that just happened this morning. I'll let you go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, so really tragic news out of the college football world today. The passing of 61-year-old Mississippi State head football coach Mike Leach this morning. I mean, I'm not really prevalent on your college football experience, Jordan, but Mike Leach was a national treasure, and it is like I said, a sad day in not just the SEC, but in college sports in general. If y'all haven't got a chance to watch the college football on ESPN segment that ESPN did today on Leach, wow, it's a moving and downright sad piece, but it signifies the person that Mike Leach was, and just captivated by it, and just really sad today. My heart goes out to his family. I really, it really hurts, and beyond that, too, Jordan, you and I were just talking about Grant Wall
right.
the other day.
Yeah, Grant Wall, another sudden passing, American soccer journalist who actually passed away in Qatar covering the World Cup. Some of you may know him as the man who did the Sports Illustrated cover, The Chosen One, about LeBron James back when he was a junior in high school. Kind of took a different path from that now. He's been covering soccer. He wrote a couple books, The Beckham Experiment, and just recently, a couple years ago, Masters of Modern Soccer. Definitely put out a lot of great work over his career. I don't want to speculate as to what the reasons were for his passing, because that hasn't been released yet, and just out of respect to his family. Just keeping that on the sideline for now. But just sad that somebody in the industry who did such profound work also passed away this week suddenly. And for both Mike Leach and Grant Wall, two very charismatic people who were just complete game changers in their certain arenas, both of them will be profoundly missed.
Absolutely, Jordan. But on to bigger, brighter, and more happier subjects here on this first episode.
So yeah, we just got done watching this Argentina-Croatia game. Holy cow, this this game kind of went the way that we thought, but just to watch Messi and Alvarez in person, let's go ahead and talk about what we thought about this game right here, Jesse.
I personally kind of disappointed in Croatia's performance after the first 25 or so minutes. I mean, kudos to Argentina for the attack that they showed in this one. It easily could have been 5 or 6 to nothing. It just too much firepower and really poor defensive strategy, I think, from Croatia that allowed Argentina to just have so many chances in the final third. And it just, I didn't expect that to be a semifinal type matchup. You know, you expect the semifinals of the World Cup to be not necessarily down to PKs, but close to extra time or something like that. But this was just looked like an opening round blowout.
And Croatia, yeah, like you said, they looked fine early, but they kind of got in their own heads after a little bit after that Messi PK, which was kind of the tone setter for the rest of the game. Like you said, it was all Argentina after that. I think there might have been one time around like minute 62, 63 where it looked like Croatia had a shot at a goal, but that was kind of the only thing I saw after that point that they even got close to scoring on.
Yeah, and what I kind of fear a little bit from seeing this matchup is tomorrow, looking at Morocco and the Cinderella story. They are definitely heavy underdogs against France. This matchup between Argentina and Croatia was pretty fairly even in the rankings. France and Morocco looking like the way this game did, I kind of fear that we could see a similar path, but Morocco's magic could kind of run out against the defending champions.
I mean, that's kind of been the case, though. Morocco has been underdogs, and here they are. So, yeah, France is going to be a little bit more of a difficult matchup. But just real quick, back to the game that we just saw. I thought it was interesting that they pulled Alvarez around minute 74. He had 2 goals, and he could have gotten a hat trick. Would you have pulled him right there if you were the coach?
Honestly, I look past the stats. To be honest, you got a World Cup, you got a final coming up on Sunday. Like,
yeah, sure.
You need to have your best players to be ready and healthy for that big game. And you know, I'm definitely, if I'm the coach for Argentina, yeah, I'm definitely pulling Alvarez there. And I was honestly kind of surprised to see Croatia pull Luka Modric there at the end, considering this is what any realistic expert will say is his final World Cup game, but, or final World Cup, I should say. They do have the 3rd place game to look forward to, but yeah, Alvarez definitely comes out there, maybe even a little earlier, to be honest with you.
My head tells me pull him, but my heart tells me no. I need to see this hat trick. It hasn't happened since 1958. I want to see a hat trick in the semis. But yeah, smart move. Holy cow, Messi in this game. That assist and that pass, that was so smooth. That may have been the best pass I've ever seen in a soccer game. Ever.
Yeah, definitely quite the ball, and just the overall performance that I think we've seen from Messi is just, it's unprecedented. Obviously you have guys like Ronaldo and Neymar and the gifted athletes in this sport, but the way Messi has played in this tournament has just been incredible. And come Sunday, rather, it'll be the most capped World Cup player in the history of FIFA soccer. So that is something to behold. I will personally miss it on Sunday, but I'm looking forward to watching the highlights after.
Yeah, I'll be working on Sunday, but I'm sure that it'll be playing on multiple people's phones throughout the day. Messi going to the World Cup final for the first time in 8 years. He has a shot to win it this time against either France or Morocco. That was a nice little segue I just did right there. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the France-Morocco preview. So obviously France is the heavy favorite. You and I I'm not even going to say kind of, we really want Morocco to win.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they've gotten this far as a non-European or South American team, like you brought up before. it means a lot, not only to the World Cup, but obviously to the people of Morocco. What do you think it's going to take for Morocco to win this game?
Before I get into that, just the African continent in general is just, they're all backing. I mean, I saw on Twitter a couple of days ago, the players from Ghana and Cameroon showing their support for Morocco, like rival opponents. This is huge for the continent of Africa. But really what it comes down to is, can Morocco slow down Mbappe and the French attack? Because it's been proven time and time again in this tournament that France is offensively gifted and their strikers will beat you at any given mistake. And it doesn't take a large mistake, the smallest of margins, for France to score. And especially with a player like Mbappe in that striking core, it's going to take good, really sound defense, which Morocco has showed throughout the entire knockout stage. They're really sound defensively. They bring back into the final third when they don't have the ball. Both Spain and England had the ball for over 70% in those two knockout games, and Morocco still stood tall and handled the pressure. Sorry, not England. Portugal lost the other day. But it's defense for Morocco is really what I think it comes down to. They have abilities in going after the French defense, and I think it just comes down to stopping that French attack.
Let's talk about how Morocco got to this point. They had a thrilling finish over Portugal. Ronaldo was benched in that before that Switzerland game. Worked out pretty well for them. They ended up winning 6-1, but they benched him again against Morocco, and it did not work in their favor. It makes sense considering it worked the first time, but obviously not working out the second time. I don't know. Would you have done anything different?
Man, Jordan, it's hard to say.
I keep putting you in the coach's seat in each one of these scenarios.
You're looking at it from a coach's perspective. I think it makes sense. He is 37, I think 38.
Yeah, but he's still Ronaldo.
Still Cristiano Ronaldo. I get that, but you look at it in his club games with Manchester United the past season or so. He hasn't been the Ronaldo that we know. Okay, he's older. He's a little slower. He doesn't quite have the matching speed for some defenders, and I think it really showed in that game against Morocco. He just couldn't get anything. And again, back to my point about Morocco's defense, he could not break through. So I really don't think it mattered. Obviously, they were against Switzerland. It didn't matter because they had the game locked up, put away, and it was just a blowout. But Morocco's defense just shut the door on anything. Pepe was the only one who had a decent shot there in the final stretch for Portugal, and that barely came to fruition. And he just missed it. He still missed, and Morocco really held on. I think from a coach's perspective, it does make sense in that regard. But hindsight's 2020, so I really can't speculate on what Portugal's coaching staff is thinking right there.
Portugal's out, Morocco's in. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
I will voucher my pick. I think France wins it. Personally, I have a 3-1 scorecard on that one. I do think Morocco scores, but I just don't think there's enough left in the tank for Morocco's defense to really shut down Mbappe and company. I think France wins it, and I don't want to say for sure, but I have a strong feeling they're going to win their second straight World Cup title.
All right. As much as I want to pick Morocco, I think you're right about France. Man, I love the way Argentina played today, though. I don't know. I don't know if I can take France in the final, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. All right. So going from football to football, good old-fashioned American football. Let's talk about this little award that was won over the weekend. It's called the Heisman? The Heisman? Oh, the Heisman.
Heisman Trophy.
That little thing, yeah. So Caleb Williams won the Heisman this weekend. I don't think it was too big of a shock. I think that was pretty much the consensus favorite. But I don't know. What do you think? Was it your?
Well, Jordan, it was the closest final vote in I think 15 years, 2007. It's it went in. I had Williams as the favorite to win it, just over Max Duggan.
Mhm.
But it's hard for me to vouch for, four quarterbacks. I think to me it's almost like the award is a quarterback award now, and no one else is able to win it. I mean, you look at the stats that guys like Bijan Robinson at Texas put up this year, and the Heisman Trophy looking the way Williams did against Utah in the Pac-12 championship. That's not Heisman Trophy numbers right there, and I'm not sure that he was the most deserving down the stretch. USC fans will probably put me on a stake here, but I really think Max Duggan was performing better, maybe in a tougher conference too. But I'm a little skeptical of the fact that it was only quarterbacks again being there. So, but numbers wise, I think there were a couple other guys that deserved to have an invite to New York City as well. But I kudos to Caleb and the numbers he put up this year, and congrats to him. But it's definitely, it was a close vote, I think, is the best way to put it.
You live in the middle of the country. You don't have to worry too much about the wrath of the Southern California faithful. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of mostly always been a quarterback award. Not always. I mean, Devontae Smith won it a couple years ago. But yeah, it was. I do feel like there were probably some candidates that were deserving of being invited that were not quarterbacks. As far as Caleb Williams goes, though, I just kind of had a feeling he has the best touchdown to interception ratio. He has one of the highest quarterback ratings. He threw for way more yards than even the next closest person on the list, who I believe was Stetson Bennett. Yeah, he had almost 600 more yards. So not super surprising to me. Obviously, you're the college football expert between the two of us, like I mentioned before. But I do still pay attention to things here and there, and that's the way that I saw it going, and that's how it worked out. By the way, this is the first USC Trojan to win the award since Reggie Bush in 05. Or maybe not. That's a line of controversy right there. But if not him, then Matt Leinart the year before, 2004.
Give Reggie his award back.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Third quarterback to win it. Obviously, Leinart won it before, and then Carson Palmer, 2002. So third quarterback in USC history to win it. We had talked about this a little bit last week as far as the transfer portal goes, but just having the success that Caleb Williams had going from Oklahoma over to USC, how do you think that is going to affect the transfer portal going forward?
Well, I think we've already seen how daunting, or maybe daunting is not the right word, how prolific the portal has become. Just seeing guys transferring and going on and doing big things. Caleb Williams had a fantastic freshman season at Oklahoma. He did come up short in the Bedlam contest, though. I will emphasize that. Thank you, Colin Oliver. Anyway, yeah, he had the preseason Heisman favorite benched in the third week of the season, and Caleb came in and took over and never relinquished the starting job at Oklahoma. So I think that is a kind of an exception to the superstardom effect of the transfer portal. You're not going to see 90% of guys be able to do what he did, year in and year out. But I do like to see guys go to a better school and maybe a better fit and have more success. So the portal is, as we mentioned last week, a free agency vibe now, like the NFL sort of. And it's just something that really, I guess, is unprecedented in this, in the world of college sports. Maybe not now, but back then you never saw guys transferring. or transferring and having success. Now it's 100 players a year transferring, maybe even more. I don't even know the exact number, but yeah, I think Caleb Williams is kind of an exception to that portal success, if you will.
Let's move from Los Angeles up to San Francisco, because we've got another great quarterback story, and this one has shocked the world, to be quite honest with you. Mr. Brock Purdy. Oh my gosh, he destroyed Tampa Bay. Go ahead.
Mr. Irrelevant, I want to mind you that. Okay. Not only Mr. Irrelevant, but the first rookie quarterback to take down Tom Brady. That's saying something. And the way they did it, I mean, granted, Purdy has nothing to do with the defense, but man, the offense was just clicking against the Tampa Bay front seven, man.
I couldn't believe what I saw out of Brock Purdy. The system is set up for quarterbacks to come in and have success. That's a huge thing for Kyle Shanahan, that he has the ability to make things like that happen. Not that it's quarterback proof. I'm sure I couldn't go out there and run that offense. But honestly, to have 3 different starting quarterbacks this year and all of them to have at least a little bit of success. I mean, Trey Lance, we didn't really get to see too much from. But clearly he's good enough to be the starting quarterback of that team. You don't go out and draft a guy unless you believe that that's the case. But yeah, Brock Purdy, I think this team could have been on the verge of being downtrodden if they would have lost to Tampa Bay, if they would have lost to Miami. Maybe that gets in their heads a little bit, like, oh shoot, we don't really have a starting quarterback that we can rely on. But no, it's been dominant performances both times. Granted, Miami hasn't looked like Miami lately. Tampa Bay has been lackluster, to say the least. But still, he's going out there and he's really impressing. He threw for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Not a huge performance arm-wise, but he went out there and did what he needed to do, and kudos to him, man, because he is rocking it. And I wouldn't be surprised if this team is a team that makes it to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy behind center.
Hey, I told you last week, Jordan. I told you last week. This guy, do not doubt him. He can come in and manufacture a game. He can run an offense. He's not going to put up the Mahomes and Josh Allen numbers, but he's going to run the offense effectively and efficiently and get them down the field to get points. He might not do it himself and get the points. He's not a running quarterback. He's a pocket passer, but he's shown flashes of being able to run the football. But his knowledge of the game and his ability to run an offense effectively, and we saw it on Sunday. He ran that Tampa Bay defense into the ground, just methodically running it over and over and over again. And Tampa had no answer. So here we are. And Brock Purdy is a winning quarterback in the NFL. Wild.
What a great story too, man. Mr. Irrelevant becoming Mr. Relevant very quickly.
I mean, also throw that stat out there. The first time in NFL history that 2 Mr. Irrelevants have scored a point in the same game. Ryan Suckup, the kicker, is also a Mr. Irrelevant, along with Brock. So
that's a great stat.
Another wild stat to throw at you this time.
Man, I had to look up his stats at Iowa State because I did not know who this guy was until Jimmy. I'll be honest, I didn't know who he was until Jimmy got hurt. I didn't know they drafted a quarterback this year, even being the last pick in the draft. Quarterback rating of 151.1, 81 touchdowns, 33 INTs, over 12,000 yards in his career at Iowa State. Dude put up some legit solid numbers for a starting quarterback in college.
Most successful quarterback in Iowa State history by far, Jordan. And I saw him 4 times, obviously against Oklahoma State, and he derailed our perfect season last year. And that methodical kind of rolling offense, him and Breece Hall last year were really, really talented running back for the Jets that they just lost. That was a big loss too, by the way. but yeah, just the methodical style of offense from Purdy at Iowa State. He just showcased it again in San Francisco. He was really, really an effective quarterback, and he, you know, along with Matt Campbell and Breece Hall, really brought Iowa State back to the upper echelon of the Big 12. Well, now that he's gone, they were at the bottom of the conference this year, but nonetheless, you know, success for Iowa State football hadn't been seen in decades. So, you know, Brock Purdy is a legend, a Cyclone legend for sure.
What do you think makes a guy like Brock Purdy go so low in the draft? Is it because of the school that he went to not having success historically?
Yeah, I think that definitely has something to do with it. He didn't put up, like I said, he's not the guy that's going to put up the Mahomes and Allen and, you know, Caleb Williams type numbers. So he kept slipping and slipping and slipping. He also didn't have a great pro day. He kind of struggled a little bit, kind of regressed. I don't know, don't speculate why that was the case, but I don't remember if he got an invite to the combine or not either. But I do know his pro day was kind of so definitely looking like a third day in the draft type of pick, but just kind of so happened that he ended up being Mr. Irrelevant. So it made him somewhat more relevant, I guess, ironically. But just the numbers that he put up in Iowa State and putting them up at Iowa State, just it's not a pass first offense to begin with. That offense ran around Breece Hall in the backfield, and they showed it every week. But a solid performances though, solid career at Iowa State, and I think just a number of factors to go along with the Iowa State lack of recognition is a part of why he dropped to the last pick.
To be fair as well, Breece Hall is going to be a stud in this league, and I'm sure that you agree with me on that.
Oh yeah, he already showed it in a rookie year before he got hurt.
Yeah, very unfortunate that he got hurt. But yeah, he was starting to really beast out right before he got injured. As far as the Niners go, Debo is hurt right now, but they do expect him back before the end of the regular season. Nick Bosa is dealing with a few injuries as well, but he looks like he's playing through it. Purdy did show up as having an oblique injury. Doesn't seem like there's been any news on him missing Thursday's game against Seattle. How far do you think this Niners team can go as far as climbing the NFC ladder? Do you think they can unseed the Eagles? Certainly the Vikings, I'm sure, if they keep playing the way they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 6 straight. I'm looking at their numbers right now. The thing that kind of jumps out to me to go along with, Philadelphia and Minnesota and Dallas, they are also 6-1 at home. So if they can improve their record, their 3-3 record on the road, because they're definitely going to have to go on the road in the playoffs. That is no question with with 3 teams at least above them in the conference. I think they can do some damage. They showed it last year. I don't know if anyone's as good as Philadelphia in the NFC. My heart wants to say that San Francisco and Dallas could beat them. But I don't know, man. I think Philadelphia is really strong. Don't get me wrong, though. I do like San Francisco's ability to possibly make it to the NFC Championship.
I do think that Philadelphia has the strongest position groups overall when you talk about each individual position groups. They're at least top 5 in each category, it seems. So it'd be really hard to unseed them this year, at least. The way that Jalen Hurts is playing as well, my God.
I'm kind of surprised, too, with how strong the NFC East has been this year. I mean, it looked like at the beginning of the year that Washington was going to go to the cellar real quick, but they're spouting off and playing pretty solid football, too. All 4 teams in the East are above 500. All 4 of them have a shot at the playoffs. I mean, realistically, one of New York or Washington's not going to make it. Mm-hmm. But with the 7-team playoff this year, you're looking at 3 NFC East teams in the playoffs.
Philadelphia is the real deal. Dallas is the real deal. I want to say Washington is the real deal. They've certainly improved throughout the year. I do have a few questions about some of their position pieces. Giants, I feel like, are the team that's kind of fallen off. That's that if there was a team that's not going to make it, it would be them. And you might have a team that's getting hot right now, like Detroit, take their spot in the playoffs, which would be great to see. I'm still a Jared Goff fan, man. I really am. I'm rooting for that guy. And he's been playing solid this year. Maybe not eye-poppingly solid, but he's running one of the most efficient offenses that have surprisingly a ton of weapons in the league.
I mean, but we've seen it all year. Detroit's offense has been near the top in the league. It's been their defense. It's at the barrel.
Atrocious.
Yeah. Terrible. But even they're really kicking it up a notch. I mean, I'm a little biased with the fact that Malcolm Rodriguez is in the center of that front seven coming from Oklahoma State. But my goodness, they have improved in the last several weeks, allowing 30-something points a game, and now they're into the teens. They're really improving. And don't be surprised if Detroit keeps that sneaky streak going. Seattle loses a couple games. The Giants lose again. Detroit could sneak their way into the playoffs. I don't think it'll happen personally, but the fact that we're even talking about Detroit on the fringes of the playoffs, Jordan, is something we haven't seen since Barry Sanders days. Even then, they were kind of on the fringe too. So
they had a couple seasons with Stafford behind center, but
yeah, they did.
Stafford, Megatron, those days, but yeah, it never amounted to anything. Always one and done. Who would have thought Detroit Lions getting into the playoffs would be one of the topics on this debut show of the Circus Catch? Who would have thunk it?
Never.
All right, Jesse, it's just about that time. We need to wrap things up. We've been talking for quite a while. I do want to give some shout outs real quick, some thank yous to some people who were very significant in this first episode of the Circus Catch happening. First of all, I do want to thank a couple of people that I consider to be my creative co-directors. They put in a lot of work into this project. I had a few ideas in my head, and they were the guys who were like, that's great, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and helped it really materialize. I would not have been able to do this without these guys. So first guy I want to give a shout out to is Joseph Rosatano, aka Joey Hollywood on YouTube. You may know him. He does a lot of logo design. He did the logo design for this show. He did the animation as well. Put in a lot of work into this thing, and I think it came out fantastic. So thank you, Joey. I really appreciate all your work. Second guy who I consider to be a creative co-director, Mr. Darren Cotta. He did videography and lighting for the skit. He did voiceover work in the skit as well. We had a meeting where he was giving me a lot of pointers and tips about things that I'm not very smart with, like social media, how to make this thing really take off as far as getting things done and marketing myself and stuff like that. So thank you, Darren. I really appreciate all the work that you've put into this thing. Couple of actors in the intro skit. I took a gamble on it. Justin Aguirre and Andre Calderon. These are guys I've known for such a long time. We were in a band together back in the day, and these guys just make me laugh so incredibly hard anytime I'm around them. I picked them, and as soon as I got there, they said, let's overact the crap out of this thing. Literally what they said, let's overact the crap out of this thing. And I said out loud, this is either the worst decision or the best decision. And it was just so hilarious, and we had such a good time. I think it was a great decision to have those guys on. So thank you guys for doing that. Another huge shout out real quick. My co-host Jesse Larson, we've known each other for a couple of years now. Ever since we started our first project together on camera, we've just had this type of chemistry that it works, and we bounce really well off of each other. Obviously, you're not under contract or anything. You never have to appear on another episode again, but you're always welcome, and you're gonna be the mainstay as far as the co-host goes. People are gonna rotate in and out, but man, I appreciate you being here for the long haul and helping me out with this. And hopefully we can both start sending some of this stuff out to companies to start looking for jobs as well. This has been an awesome experience with you so far, and I look forward to doing many more.
Absolutely, Jordan. Don't make me cry, okay? Don't make me cry on the show here.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I want to bring the waterworks.
But speaking of the intro, man, my wife loved it. I loved it. It was a really great piece. And I'm happy to be here on the show with you. Really looking forward to doing this again, every week if I can. Obviously, other obligations sometimes not able to, but thank you for having me, and I'm really going to enjoy working with you further. When we did it in school, it was just for an assignment. Now this is the real deal. So
Yeah.
this is a fun time, and I'm really happy to be here, bro.
You'll get one vacation week a year. It's fine.
Oh,
I do also want to give a shout out to the interviewees. Obviously those interviews were not real interviews. They were interviews just for the sake of making the visual effect look funny in the intro. So everybody who was a part of that, in no particular order: Darren Cotta, Zach White, Eric Chatham, Jesse Larson, Chase Fergoso, Teresa Dominguez, Jamie Wright, Kyle Rhodes, Blake Avila. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys always being there for me as far as offering me your friendship, and it means a lot to me that you were a part of this project. Obviously, a lot of big stuff has been happening with me this year. I got my bachelor's degree. In my personal life, I lost damn near 100 pounds. I feel much better than I did at the beginning of the year. But there was also a very low point for me this year where I felt like I was all alone in the world and didn't have anyone I could rely on. But the fact that all of you guys have just said, yeah, let's do it. As soon as I asked you guys to be a part of this project, it shows me how not alone I am, how surrounded I am by great people. And you guys have no idea how much this means to me. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Hell yeah, Jordan. Hell yeah.
So it was a little bit of a cathartic moment for me. However cheesy that intro was, it was kind of cool to see the transition from all those old shots, even though those shots were completely out of context. All those old shots of me being that morbidly obese guy, being 360 pounds to get down to now I'm in the 260s. What an experience, man. 2022 has been awesome. And I can't wait to see what 2023 brings. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on this first show. I know it went a little bit long, but I really appreciate you guys supporting. Make sure to share everything that you see on social media if you can. That would really help us out a lot. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.